Okay, all right. So welcome everybody. I'm really excited to be here today and be able to talk to people from the two continents, from North Carolina here and from France. I'm very excited to introduce all our partners today, RTRP, EDPNC, Hutchinson Law, and the Occitanie and ad hoc people. I'm French, so I'm going to say a few words in French. Je suis moi aussi de la région d'Occitanie. D'ailleurs, aujourd'hui, je porte ma croix. Donc, je vous invite tous, je suis très contente de vous recevoir tous aujourd'hui. Et je voulais aussi vous informer que si vous avez des problèmes pour parler, pour comprendre ce que nous disons en anglais, n'hésitez pas à faire signe, à envoyer un petit mot dans le chat. On s'arrêtera, on vous expliquera, on pourra traduire et on prendra le temps de vous expliquer ce qu'on dit parce qu'on sait que parfois, effectivement, quand on s'exprime en anglais avec l'accent américain, ça n'est pas toujours aussi facile. Donc, n'hésitez pas à nous interrompre. Je voulais commencer par peut-être présenter Jean-Marc Dessat. Jean-Marc, je crois que tu as quelques mots à dire?
Oui, merci bien. Je passe à l'anglais du coup.
Okay, yes.
Merci Marie-Claire. Hello everyone. I hope you're well and safe, and I'd like to thank all the participants from France and from the US for attending this webinar. And a special thank you to Marie-Claire and her cross, Occitanie cross, if I may say. And thank you also to Ryan Combs for organizing this event. My name is Jean-Marc Dessat. I'm the Director for Investment, Trade and European Affairs at the Economic Agency of Occitanie Region, called ADOC, Agence de Développement de l'Occitanie, that reads itself. I'm delighted to be with you today and to have your attention in spite of the fact I won't talk about the US elections. And I'm happy to contribute to strengthening our relations with the RTRP and North and South Carolina. Speaking about Occitanie, our ecosystems have many similarities. I'm thinking of leading sectors such as clean tech, aeronautics, ag tech, life sciences, and the Carolinas offer many export and business opportunities for our regional companies. The United States, as you may know, is an essential partner of Occitanie, as many regional companies are currently exporting their products to the States or even have established a subsidiary there. Quickly, just a few figures. The United States is the leading investor in the Occitanie region, with large groups such as Collins Aerospace, IBM, Coca-Cola, who have established from a long date the regional presence in Occitanie. The United States are also ranked 4th country of destination for our regional exportations and 2nd country for regional importations. In addition, the US market is so vital to our region that we decided 10 years ago to establish a Maison de la Région Occitanie in New York, which is a very important asset for helping our companies and to help cooperation both ways. La Maison in New York connects Occitanie producers to local experts, as well as provide a physical office space from which the companies can easily transition to the US market. We have dedicated a team of 3 persons who are all eager to assist you, to promote your experts, or to help you setting up an office in the US. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions about how to use this facility or simply wish to find out more about Occitanie. I wish you all an excellent webinar and a great weekend afterwards. And I have the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jean-Marc. That's very exciting to know that you're already, Occitanie is already in the US, but you all have to come to North Carolina. And we are very excited to think that we could, and we hope that we can launch a partnership between our region here in North Carolina and Occitanie, because as you say, there are lots of similarities. And I'll let Ryan and Colin explain that. I wanted to start just very briefly by saying what we are and what we do at the Chamber. We are we have our partners, our main partners are here today, RTRP and EDPNC and Hutchinson Law. And we are what we think the point of entry for French companies coming to the US. So we have lots of strengths. We have a highly skilled team in all aspects of business development. We have strong partnerships with all the French companies in the area, local providers such as Hutchinson Law, and the French authorities also. We know, we have lots of contacts at the consulate, and we know the ambassador. We can help you, especially at the moment with visas and coming back from France. If we are, it can seem a very arduous at the moment to come back to the US or come to the US, but we can help you on that aspect also. And in France, EDPNC has a correspondent, Archibald Asley Corbett, was over there and to help you also to make the connection. So here, what we will do for you, if you are interested in moving to, and coming, and vous implanter aux États-Unis, comme on dit en français, we can guide you through the local ecosystem until from the beginning to the end. We will be your support. We'll be what we would think to say that we will be your interpreter and your, the person that will explain and translate what is being said, the person that you can have dinner with in the evenings and relate what you have felt, what you have seen, and explain to you in French what is going on. So Ashley, if you could move on to the other slide. Maybe she's not, yeah. So we have all these business services, development services. I will let you look at the slide later on. We will definitely translate all the slides for you in French, and all the services we can help you with, and we will most definitely direct you to all our partners. One of our biggest partners here that we created recently was La French Tech Raleigh Research Triangle, and I think some people from La French Tech are here with us today. Claire Juliette and David, who is the president, they're all on the board, and this is an amazing thing. It started in April this year, and they are also another support system that will welcome you when you want to come to North Carolina. So I will let Ryan and Colin explain more about North Carolina, but I wanted you to have just a look at all our partners, all the French companies that we have here, or some of the French companies that we have here, that we can, that can also help you and support you. Thank you very much, Ryan and Colin. I'll let you introduce and talk more about North Carolina.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mary Claire, and thank you for organizing this today. And you've been a great partner to the RTRP for the last couple of years, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. As Mary Claire said, my name is Ryan Combs. I run a regional economic development organization called the Research Triangle Regional Partnership. So like Jean-Marc, we're a regional development group. And I'm on the phone, or I'm on the call today with Colin Kaiser, who represents the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina. So that is our statewide counterpart in economic development. So between the two of us, as Mary Claire mentioned, Archie, who is over there in I believe he lives in Belgium, and then Thomas, who works with the RTRP, is located in Lyon. So between the two of them, we have great resources for you in France. Jean-Marc, as well, for allowing us to be a part of this today. We really look forward to building a strong relationship with you going forward, and are really excited about building strong relationships with France and Occitanie. So I will tell you a little bit about the state of North Carolina. So we're centrally located on the East Coast. We're one of the fastest growing states in the United States. We've had about 900,000 people move into the state of North Carolina over the last 10 years. We're now the 9th most populous state in the United States. We have about 10.5 million people living in the state of North Carolina now. And we're expected to exceed 12 million by 2030. So very fast growing state. We have the 11th largest GDP in the country. And as I said, we're in a perfect position, located, centrally in between New York and Orlando on the East Coast of the United States. 60% of the U.S. population is within a 1 day's drive of where we are located. You can be in New York City in an hour, Atlanta in 45 minutes on an airplane, Boston an hour and a half. And we have 10 carriers flying in and out of our airport. So we're very well connected. For the third year in a row, Forbes magazine has named North Carolina the #1 state for business. And like France, North Carolina is a beautiful state. One of the things I love to brag about is last year tourists spent $25.3 billion on coming and visiting the state of North Carolina. Just like France, we have beautiful mountains here. We have beautiful beaches. So even if it's just a visit, we would love to have you in North Carolina. Just a snapshot that if North Carolina was a country, you can kind of see where we rank within the world. Our GDP is $566 billion, and with a 10.5 million population, and then GDP per capita is about $48,000. So this is just a quick snapshot of the size difference between France and North Carolina. North Carolina is basically about 875 kilometers from east to west and 378 kilometers from north to south. So you can see the size of our state. We've got 2 major ports and 3 major railroads going through the state of North Carolina. And I just wanted to give everyone a snapshot of kind of the difference between North Carolina and Occitanie in terms of numbers. And then if you look at the Raleigh-Durham area where we're located, and then the Toulouse, you can see the similarities in population, students, and jobs. So we're known as the Research Triangle region, and that stems from a research park that was built in our area in the early 1960s called the Research Triangle Park. We have 3 Tier 1 research universities within a 30-mile radius of another. So you have North Carolina State University, Duke University, and the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. At the time, we had students coming in, going to school here, and then leaving, and our business and government got together to try to figure out how to keep people in the region, and they built the largest research park in the country. We have 12 colleges and universities in our region on top of the 3 Tier 1 research universities. We have about 160,000 students here every year and about 50,000 graduates, and over 62% of our graduates are staying here and working in the region. So that's really what's driving the growth of our region with companies. The Research Triangle region, like France, we have a very young population in the Triangle. Our average age is 37 years old. We've been voted the 2nd best place for business and careers by Forbes. We have over 1 million in the regional labor workforce. 76 people a day are moving to our region, and the average regional median home value is about $175,000, and the regional median household income is around $76,000 a year. What's driving our growth also is we have a very diverse business sectors in our region. Obviously, we're mostly known for life sciences. We have over 500 life science companies in the region, and a lot of that growth has to do with the federal research that our Tier 1 research universities are doing. Both Duke and UNC Chapel Hill do about $1 billion a year in research for the National Institutes of Health. And with COVID, currently, UNC Chapel Hill is only behind the National Institute of Health and the Centers for Disease Control, 2 federal agencies. They are the only 2 groups receiving more federal funding for COVID research right now besides UNC Chapel Hill. So we're very proud of our universities. But the tech sector is also exploding in North Carolina in the Triangle and as well in the Triangle. As a state, we grew the sector by 22% over the last 5 years. And the Triangle is really benefiting from a lot of that growth. Again, with our graduates and our young talent, that's bringing industry here to the Triangle region. And then with manufacturing, our proximity to the more rural areas in our region make us a very ideal location for manufacturing. We do everything from pharmaceutical manufacturing to medical device, textiles, tires, automotive, and aviation components. So we really have a very diverse advanced manufacturing sector here. And then clean tech and ag tech are 2 of our fastest growing clusters here. A lot of the ag tech technologies coming out of our life science companies here in the park. And then the clean tech sector, we've got over 2,000 clean tech companies here now, and we're expected to grow that sector by 25% over the next 5 years. And then our startup community. You know, a lot of the growth, we had 41 spinouts out of our 3 Tier 1 research universities that I mentioned last year. Our region is a hotbed for investment. Out of $2.7 billion that the state of North Carolina raised in venture capital in 2019, $2.45 billion that came right here in the Triangle. So we're finding that a lot of people are, it's just a great place to start a company and grow a company. We've had 2,500 startups established here. And as you can see, Inc. magazine named us the 3rd best place in the U.S. for starting a business in 2018. And then I wanted to share this with you. This is a heat map that the Silicon Valley Bank just published recently that shows where they think the future investments are going to go, especially post-COVID. And as you can see, Raleigh is on the top spot on that entire heat map. And then below, you can see the cost savings. A lot of this has to do with being in big cities and that they're finding more value in smaller cities like Raleigh as opposed to New York or LA or San Francisco. And then the cost of doing business, that's another reason that we're growing so rapidly. If you look at what the cost of doing business is in San Francisco or New York or Boston, we're way below the national average on cost of doing business. And then this is just an interesting statistic I love to show folks. These are the average home prices in different markets in the U.S. If you look, the average home price in San Francisco is $1.4 million. And then if you look at Raleigh, it's about $290,000. And then on the right, you'll see the average apartment rent in San Francisco is $3,700. In New York, it's $3,400. And in Raleigh, it's $1,222. So you can see just how far your dollar will go living in a market like ours. And then I just wanted to show us a snapshot of a lot of the international companies we have here. We're very proud of our international partners. We've got over 700 international companies in our region. And like we were talking earlier with Mary Claire, we really are trying to make a concerted effort to build strategic mutually beneficial relationships with France, and we're really excited to work with your region. And a lot of this growth, as you can see, is stemming from the airport that we have here. We have an international airport. It's one of the fastest growing airports in the country. We were breaking records every month for the number of passengers going in and out. In 2019, we had over 14 million passengers, 61 direct flights, and as I mentioned earlier, 10 airlines, and then we had 5 international flights. One of those is a direct flight between Raleigh, Durham, our airport here, Delta Airlines. We have a daily nonstop direct, and that flight is supposed to resume in April of this year. But obviously with COVID, we don't know if that's going to happen, but Delta's still planning on launching that flight again in April. So that's just a snapshot of North Carolina. We're interested. We're very excited to work with you, and please let us know how we can help. And Mary Claire, I'll turn it back over to you now.
Thank you very much. And I really wanted to say to stress what you just said. And I am in charge of La Maison de France here in Raleigh. And it's amazing that in the last few months, and with COVID, the movement towards North Carolina within the United States itself has increased. I have so many people that came to La Maison de France who were coming from New York, Boston, and Chicago, and told me it's too expensive over there. It's not a good lifestyle. And here you have everything. We're moving. We're coming here. So just to reinforce, the movement is even stronger at the moment. So, all right, Colin, did you have anything to add, maybe? Or
yeah, just to chime in, thank you everyone for joining the call, and thank you, Ryan, for a great overview on North Carolina. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head. We've transformed from a legacy manufacturing state into a 21st century knowledge-based economy. Much like France, we have so many similarities, and we're excited to build these pathways. Just again, to stress our commitment to Europe and to France specifically, with Thomas and with Archibald that are both on the call. If you could raise your hand, these are both French citizens that are in country and or rather in country and then in the continent, and they are there to visit with you, to answer questions, as all of us are, and just demonstrating the long-term investment that we have looking towards France and building the transatlantic ties. So thanks for the time, everyone, and looking forward to the rest of the webinar.
Wonderful. I think it's Didier. Oh yes, Didier. Would you, Didier? Are you there? All right. I don't know if I can see Didier.
Much better with sound.
All right. So Didier has got a very interesting story. We worked with the chamber, worked with him, and ADPNC and RP worked with him last year when he was helping a company move to North Carolina. So please, Didier, share your story.
Okay, thank you, Marie-Claire. Thank you all, and thank you, Ryan, for the invitation as well. It's a pleasure talking just right after you. and the way you present North Carolina and RTRP especially, I think any businessman normally equipped in his head is now wondering how to go and set up a subsidiary in North Carolina. For sure, that's it. And that's great, because that's my job, or part of my job. So again, thank you to giving me the voice here. So we'll try, and I will try in 5 minutes to explain what is our business, and I will come back on what Marie-Claire said regarding the experience we have had with North Carolina, especially with the French-American Chamber of Commerce in Carolinas. RTRP with the team of Ryan and also the team of Colin with EDPNC, and honestly, that's an amazing story. To make it so, as we have said, first of all, I'm also a French one from Occitanie. What we have decided some days ago is that I will switch. I will leave the slides in English for sure. I will not change anything right now, but I will switch in French. And if it is an issue for any American native ones who are not yet speaking French, feel free to let me know, and Marie-Claire could raise and try to switch me again in English. But I will switch in French just to make sure everybody will understand, as I will try to be quite fast on the presentation. Donc, back in French. Donc, rapidement, pour présenter Gladstone et le propos du pourquoi je suis avec vous aujourd'hui. Donc, nous, on est un petit cabinet d'affaires spécialisé dans deux parties. La partie transition management, où on fait beaucoup de remplacements, donc de direction générale, direction projet, programme. Petit cabinet, donc nous ne sommes pas nombreux. Nous sommes implantés, par contre, entre les États-Unis et la France, Amérique du Nord, je devrais dire, donc Mexique et Canada également, mais principalement États-Unis depuis une vingtaine d'années. Donc c'est un pays dans lequel j'ai eu personnellement aussi l'occasion de beaucoup travailler, de bien connaître et les gens et les entreprises et la façon dont on travaille, la culture, de diriger des entreprises pour mes clients, d'en créer, d'en monter. C'était le cas et ce sera le cas de l'histoire dont on va parler après et qui nous amène à être là ensemble. Voilà, donc la partie qui nous intéresse plus dans nos activités, effectivement, c'est la partie Operational Support for US Establishment, où en fait, nous, on est la cheville ouvrière, voilà, des gens qui souhaitent s'implanter aux États-Unis. Il y a beaucoup de choses à faire. En Caroline du Nord, notamment, c'est un lieu privilégié, certainement, et sans aucun doute, pour une implantation d'une entreprise française aux États-Unis. Ça ouvre un marché relativement grand, comme l'a présenté Ryan Combs. Ça ouvre à la fois le marché de la Caroline du Nord, mais pas seulement. C'est dans l'esprit d'un entrepreneur français qui souhaite s'installer aux États-Unis. C'est un terrain de jeu qui est bien plus vaste que l'Europe tout entière, qui est à votre disposition. Voilà, donc nous, nos services sur cette partie-là, c'est de la préétude. On ne va pas parler SWOT ici, mais une préétude, c'est indispensable à votre future implantation aux États-Unis, jusqu'à la mise en place des différentes phases du projet outre-Atlantique. Et on va revenir dessus rapidement. Next slide. I don't know who's browsing the slide. Is it Marie-Claire? Is it you, Marie-Claire? No, that's Ashley. OK. Alors, donc très rapidement, ce que l'on voit ici, c'est pour vous rappeler ce qui se passe quand on cherche à s'implanter. Donc, vous qui êtes entrepreneur, qui avez une entreprise ou qui conseillez des gens qui cherchent à s'implanter, eh bien, il y a notre entreprise qui est là, qui est en France, en Occitanie en l'occurrence, qui maîtrise généralement très très bien son environnement français ou son environnement habituel de clients et avec son installation française. Et puis, il y a les États-Unis, donc ce terrain de jeu vers lequel on peut souhaiter s'implanter, on peut souhaiter s'implanter à Raleigh notamment. Ça veut dire beaucoup d'interlocuteurs locaux, ça veut dire des gens différents, ça veut dire aussi une nécessité de façon opérationnelle d'être sur le terrain pour non pas recréer votre entreprise, mais du moins la faire vivre là-bas. Next, please, Ashley. Donc, ça se présente comment? Ça se présente sous la forme surtout d'une analyse effectivement de ce qui va être important pour vous. Mais pour aller directement à l'essentiel et notre valeur ajoutée, nous, elle est surtout dans ce qui va faire le succès. Et je pense que si Ryan Combs, Marie-Claire et plusieurs autres acteurs que j'ai eu le plaisir de rencontrer là-bas m'ont invité, c'est surtout pour rappeler ça, parce que ce qu'attendent chacun de ces acteurs-là en local, toutes ces agences de développement, qu'elles soient EDPNC, RTRP ou la chambre de commerce représentée par Marie-Claire, c'est avant tout le succès de cette installation, le succès. Une entreprise qui s'installe, qui décide de s'installer aux États-Unis depuis la France, c'est avant tout le succès. C'est beaucoup de temps, c'est beaucoup d'énergie consacrée. Et voilà, donc ça nécessite une bonne préparation. Ça nécessite également d'être très ouvert, de ne pas avoir de préjugés, ni sur la façon dont votre business pourra s'implanter aux USA et en Caroline du Nord, ni sur la forme qu'il va prendre. Pourquoi je précise ça? C'est parce que les plus gros échecs, évidemment, sont à éviter. Les plus gros échecs viennent souvent d'une espèce de réplication à l'identique de ce qu'un entrepreneur français qui, en général, a bien réussi, une entreprise qui a bien réussi, je pense PME et ETI en Occitanie, va essayer de répliquer à l'identique ce qu'il connaît, ce qu'il maîtrise bien. Et l'écueil à ne pas faire, c'est celui-ci. Donc, vous connaissez bien votre business en France, vous maîtrisez très bien tous ces intervenants, mais il vous faut quelqu'un pour traduire ça et pour l'adapter correctement aux États-Unis et à la Caroline du Nord, dans notre cas. Vous êtes les acteurs principaux de votre entreprise en France, sans aucun doute. Vous êtes ceux qui savez comment fonctionne votre entreprise, techniquement, administrativement, qui connaissez vos clients, qui savez comment leur parler. Ça ne se passe pas pareil aux États-Unis. Le marché et le terrain de jeu, comme je l'ai dit, est bien plus vaste, bien plus grand et encore bien plus excitant que celui qu'on peut avoir en Europe. Pour autant, on ne joue pas de la même façon et avec exactement les mêmes règles culturelles. Je suis un peu direct dans ce que je dis parce que Marie-Claire m'a demandé d'être assez concis et elle sait que j'ai tendance à beaucoup parler. Donc, je vais essayer d'être straight to the point, as you say.
C'est le problème d'être du Sud, ça.
Peut-être, écoute, voilà.
Comme moi.
Comme toi, mais je sais que les gens à qui on s'adresse sont à quelques dizaines, voire quelques centaines de kilomètres au plus du bureau duquel je parle en ce moment. Donc, je sais que je pourrais les recontacter, ils pourront me recontacter après. Donc, effectivement, les principaux écueils, c'est cette nécessité de traduire correctement en langage US, business US-wise, la façon dont vous allez faire votre business aux États-Unis. Parce que ces acteurs qui sont prêts à vous recevoir, les principaux qu'on a déjà entendus depuis le début, la French American Chamber of Commerce, la EDPNC, des gens comme RTRP, sont des acteurs formidables, fantastiques pour que vous puissiez mettre un business. Pour autant, ce ne sont pas des gens qui vont vous faire cette traduction du travail. Alors Marie-Claire l'a bien dit quand même, elle est là avec toute son équipe, avec Gérard qui est avec nous, je crois, aujourd'hui, pour vous aider, pour vous recevoir. Mais on va le voir sur le slide d'après, il y a des erreurs effectivement à éviter. Donc là, j'en ai repris certaines, comme le fait de parler anglais couramment, évidemment, mais des erreurs plus cachées, comme la partie gestion des ressources humaines qui est quelque chose de très sensible dans une entreprise et qui ne se travaille absolument pas comme on peut le travailler en France. On l'a vu dans notre expérience de l'année dernière avec Marie-Claire et ses équipes. La rapidité du business aussi, la façon dont on le traite, la façon dont on traite les fournisseurs ou les clients, traités au sens noble du terme, bien évidemment. Tout ça, ce sont des us et coutumes qui sont différentes de ce que l'on peut connaître en France. Next, please, Ashley. Thank you. Donc, pour résumer, en fait, ce dont un entrepreneur ou une entreprise va avoir besoin et qu'il ne faut surtout pas minimiser, et c'est ce que normalement les partenaires français, notamment en termes de banque ou de support financier, vont valider avec une entreprise qui souhaite s'implanter, c'est cette crédibilité à être capable d'aller développer son business aux États-Unis et de s'implanter dans le triangle à Raleigh, par exemple. Il est absolument nécessaire de prouver, donc pour la partie française, quand vous connaissez évidemment vos différents partenaires, de leur montrer que ce projet de développement, ce projet d'implantation d'une filiale ou d'une nouvelle usine, d'un bureau, même d'un simple bureau de vente pour commencer, se construit correctement par rapport à votre entité française. Donc, nous, on intervient de ces deux façons et dans tous les cas de figure, que ce soit nous ou d'autres partenaires, et il y en a en général bien d'autres que l'on sait vous conseiller aussi, on va intervenir de deux façons relativement simples. Par rapport à ce que vous connaissez et à ce que vous maîtrisez en France de votre entreprise, on arrive effectivement comme un support pour vous qui donne de la consistance, de la crédibilité à votre projet par rapport à toutes vos interfaces, et je pense notamment à l'aspect financier. Pour les États-Unis, c'est effectivement bien plus vaste. C'est-à-dire que c'est en fait un support à la mise en œuvre, à la création, au développement et à la naissance de votre entité aux États-Unis. Et il ne faut surtout pas minimiser ce genre de choses. Alors, je les ai mis un peu en vrac, mais vous avez les CPA. Je crois qu'on a Goran avec nous, d'un cabinet local, RTRP. CPA, pour les Français qui ne sauraient pas, c'est l'équivalent de nos experts comptables dans une acception, voire un peu plus générale. Pourquoi? Parce que là, on ne peut pas comparer non plus, quand je parlais de translation sur le premier slide, quand je parlais de traduction, pardon, l'aspect CPA, legal, les relations aux banques, etc., ne s'organisent pas tout à fait, même pas du tout, comme ce que l'on peut connaître en France. Donc, il est nécessaire d'avoir un point pour vous d'avoir un chef de projet, d'avoir une entité qui va nécessairement prendre la main et vous accompagner pour être votre représentant et le créateur de cette nouvelle structure aux États-Unis. Next, Ashley, please. Avec une petite précision, effectivement, en France, vous êtes chez vous. Aux États-Unis, it's far from home. Et ce n'est pas rien de le dire. Donc, notre valeur ajoutée, qui correspond à la valeur ajoutée de n'importe quel projet qui peut être accueilli demain par Marie-Claire à la Chambre de commerce ou par Ryan, Colin et les autres acteurs RTRP, DPNC in Raleigh, c'est d'abord d'être certain que vous ne tombez pas dans une chose-trappe financière, c'est-à-dire de mettre ses billes au bon endroit et de faire de ce rêve une réalité. On vous propose, nous, bien entendu, cet aspect French US Management Experience, donc qui rejoint ce que disait Marie-Claire. C'est indispensable pour le succès d'une implantation. Je crois qu'on a quelqu'un d'autre qui va nous en parler également après. La fabrication des plans que l'on fait ensemble, etc. Et surtout le temps qu'il va falloir consacrer en local à développer ce réseau pour votre entreprise. Réseau qui va être constitué à la fois de la partie commerciale, bien entendu, mais pas que. Il y a toutes les parties administratives, légales, juridiques, l'implantation, les contacts avec les banques, le bail qu'il faut signer pour trouver un local, que ce soit pour un bureau ou que ce soit pour une usine, les rendez-vous avec les architectes, les rendez-vous que vous devez mener. Tout ça, ça ne se fait pas à distance, il faut être en local. Et c'est important d'avoir quelqu'un qui effectivement parle le même langage, une équipe qui parle le même langage que les us et coutumes locales. Next, please, Ashley. Voilà, donc juste pour conclure sur cette partie-là, donc puisque ce qui nous intéresse c'est Art Therapy, effectivement, je vais le rappeler quand même parce que Ryan l'a dit et Marie-Claire aussi, mais la région de Raleigh, North Carolina et du Triangle, donc Triangle qui vous a été expliqué par Ryan entre Durham, entre Chapel Hill et Raleigh, est particulièrement attractive. Et j'ai eu l'occasion, donc l'année dernière, et depuis également, mais de façon plus discrète, parce que l'entreprise que j'ai conseillée m'a demandé d'être très, très, très discret quant à ses desiderata stratégiques. Mais j'ai eu l'occasion d'accompagner ou d'essayer d'accompagner, compte tenu des circonstances de la Covid, une deuxième entreprise vers le Triangle à Raleigh, chose que mes amis locaux ne savent pas encore, puisque donc j'essaye de rester discret par rapport à cette entreprise. Mais c'est une région fantastique où vous pouvez attendre un support local absolument incroyable. Donc des gens comme Ryan Combs, RTRP, des gens comme Colin, EDPNC et son équipe, bien entendu, toute l'équipe de la Chambre de commerce. C'est important de le préciser parce que, une fois encore, c'est indispensable à une bonne réussite de projet. On l'a dit, mais c'est facile de voyager jusqu'à Raleigh. On peut partir le matin d'Occitanie, en l'occurrence, que ce soit de Montpellier, de Toulouse. On peut prendre l'avion le matin et être à son bureau à Raleigh à 14h30. Pour l'avoir fait, je sais que c'est possible. Alors, en ces temps un peu compliqués de Covid, je ne sais pas si les vols sont tous les mêmes, mais du moins c'était possible et c'est pas rien. C'est une place également centrale, Raleigh, pour pouvoir développer et déployer son business partout aux États-Unis, pas seulement en Caroline du Nord, mais partout. Vous êtes bien placé, vous êtes bien positionné, que ce soit également pour tisser des liens avec le Canada ou le Mexique, sur lesquels le marché du Mexique est très, très, très important, notamment en Occitanie par rapport à nos activités aéronautiques. Pour ceux qui sont dans l'aéronautique, il faut savoir que vous avez de nombreuses grandes enseignes, grandes entreprises, grands tier one de l'aéronautique qui sont implantées au Mexique, dont les principales usines sont au Mexique et qui se fournissent aux États-Unis. Il faut savoir que même les entreprises françaises, je n'en citerai qu'une, s'appelle Safran, les usines du Mexique s'approvisionnent aux États-Unis et évidemment, elles aimeraient bien avoir un peu plus d'entreprises françaises, voire d'Occitanie, vers lesquelles elles pourraient acheter leurs produits, mais encore une fois, aux États-Unis et pas en Europe. Voilà, donc une grande variété de choses qui fait que ce réseau industriel est très, très intéressant. On a eu effectivement l'occasion donc de travailler ensemble. Tout ça, c'est basé sur du vécu et d'implanter une structure, une PME du Sud-Ouest. Des gens, évidemment, une très belle structure, très belle PME, avec qui on avait déjà eu une expérience d'achat d'entreprise aux États-Unis quelques années plus tôt. Ces gens-là ont décidé d'implanter une usine et ensemble, donc nous avons parcouru, du moins j'ai modestement essayé de faire le travail pour eux, de rechercher ce qu'ils demandaient en termes d'implantation et d'implantation d'une nouvelle structure de production. Et tout cela nous a amené donc à rencontrer d'abord Marie-Claire au niveau de la Chambre de commerce, puis les agences locales de développement. And I will switch back in English for you, Ryan and Marie-Claire, just to make sure we can make the transition. So we have had, I was just saying, Ryan, that we have had the pleasure to develop a business for a local mid-sized company last year with you, and especially with your team and the team of Marie-Claire and the team of EDPNC as well. And among this as well, with the people from the different counties we have met to see how to install the company there. And that was, I mean, really North Carolina, and especially RTRP and Raleigh and the Triangle, and to me is a real. That's where, of course, as you say that, and I think Ryan, you said that, but North Carolina State is the first state to start a business. And yes, and I think that's true. We have the pleasure to launch that company there. COVID was not planned in our plans, at least, but we have the pleasure to launch them. And so, in conclusion, just to make sure and to try to respect the time for you, Marcia. No, I will stop there, and I will make sure that, of course, anybody which will be or might be interested in knowing more, I can meet with them. I'm in Occitanie. I'm based in Toulouse, so I'm really close to all of these people, and of course hope to be back in the triangle soon to develop new businesses with you, Ryan, Marie-Claire.
All right, thank you very much, Didier. That was very extensive. Thank you very much for all the explanations. And yes, it's great to work with us. As you said, we are a team. Ryan, Colin, and I, we work together and we support each other in everything that we do. I'm the translator, the local translator between the French and the American ways of lives and then cultural things. So if you have something that you cannot understand with culturally, we can always help, and that's really great. So I think we will talk with let Stephen take the lead now. Stephen from Selectis. Do we have Stephen?
Yes, I'm here. Hopefully my audio is working well. Yeah, hi.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much, Stephen. So Stephen is at the head of Selectis in Raleigh. They arrived 2 years ago now in Raleigh, and are starting
about 2 years ago.
A great facility. So I will let you explain how this happened and what you think of the region and why maybe you chose that region.
Absolutely. So yeah, thank you for inviting me to this webinar. I'm happy to talk to everyone today. Here. Yep, I've been with Selectis about 4 months now. I've been in the biopharma biotech industry for 25 years. Selectis is a life science company in the gene editing and cell therapy space, which is one of the fastest growing sectors in all of biopharma now, gene editing and gene therapy and cell therapy. So Selectis is a startup company that's based in Paris. Obviously, they're French. They decided to take the plunge and construct their own internal GMP pharmaceutical manufacturing, because the gene therapy and cell therapy space is kind of challenging right now in that there are so many startup companies in the space, and they're all trying to compete for the same contract manufacturing firms in getting production time. So Selectis made what I think was the very wise and bold decision to construct their own GMP manufacturing space. So there is a production facility in Paris that makes what we call the critical starting materials for doing gene editing and cell therapy. Those are things like DNA plasmids, messenger RNA, and the recombinant vectors that we use for transforming cells. And they decided to site in the United States a manufacturing facility that will make the drug substance and the drug product that actually goes to the patients. Multiple reasons for doing that. Number one, the United States is a hotbed of biotech and biotech manufacturing. Number two, the clinical trials for the company are being done under the FDA authority in the United States. And the company had also located in New York a few years ago some of our corporate functions like finance, our clinical trials operations team, and our research and development team are in New York, again, because of the proximity to the talent base and the knowledge in the United States. So when the company decided that they wanted to make a drug substance and drug product GMP manufacturing facility in the United States, I think the West Coast was kind of out of the question, because the 6-hour time difference from the East Coast to Paris is challenging enough. Going to the West Coast makes it a 9-hour time difference. So Selectis was looking at the East Coast of the United States, and for many of the reasons that Ryan referred to in his wonderful presentation earlier, it became a pretty easy siting decision. Of course, we were looking in the Northeast area, Cambridge is another hotbed of biotech manufacturing. The New Jersey corridor is well known for traditional pharmaceutical manufacturing. The Research Triangle area is, of course, a hotbed of biotech manufacturing. And when you look at things like the cost of facilities, the cost to build, the cost of hiring a workforce and recruiting, the Research Triangle region simply just came out on top, and it was decided that that'd be a fantastic place to locate this drug substance and drug product manufacturing facility. Ryan had alluded to the educated workforce we have here, the 12 different colleges and universities we have in the Triangle area, including those 3 top-tier universities. So we have access to new graduates with both undergraduate and graduate degrees, well trained in the life sciences. And being a region where there are a lot of other pharmaceutical, biopharmaceutical, and startup companies, it's kind of a small industry, and you find that people in this space move from company to company a lot. So we have access to people at other companies that we're successfully able to recruit in. And that cost of living in North Carolina makes it very attractive to pulling in talent from other regions of the company. Like, I have a number of people on my team now that came from the West Coast, who came from the Northeast. And when they realize what the cost of living is, the median home price in North Carolina, people are really excited about coming to North Carolina. The cost of living, the lifestyle is just wonderful. So it became a pretty apparent decision that the Raleigh-Durham area would be where we would put up this new facility. And it started, as Marie-Claire referred to, in 2018. And we're heading towards becoming operational in 2021 now, and very, very excited about it and happy to be here in North Carolina.
Thank you so much, for talking so well about our region. And I touched about it a little bit also, but for French people, there is a French community here. There's a French school. I mean, there's a French community that will welcome you also, not just the North Carolinians, but also the French community. Fred, would you like to talk to us about your business and how you help companies in the area? And it's probably Goran first.
Goran will go first. Yeah.
Goran. Yes. Sorry.
Yes. Can everyone hear me? I'm having some audio difficulties, but my video's here as well. Just have to talk over a phone. Well, anyways, thank you for having me. I'm happy to share a little bit about kind of the tax aspect of establishing business in the United States. And Occitanie is quite dear to my heart because I've spent about a year of my life studying in Montpellier. So, had some fond memories of that time. But anyways, so I'm a tax manager with Hughes, Pittman & Gupton, or simply HPG, and together with Heather Dean, who is our tax partner in our practice, I lead our international services group. So we're at HPG, we're a group of about 80 CPAs, or certified professional accountants, or expert comptable, with a support staff of about 20, located all here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we service obviously local, multi-state, and multinational companies as well as individuals. Now, in addition to our Raleigh-based team, we also have affiliations with Crow Global, which gives us some additional resources in local jurisdictions such as France, as well as some close relationships with our peers in those regions as well. Our international group specifically works with U.S. companies who are looking to expand globally, of course, and as well as foreign companies or inbound companies looking to enter the U.S. marketplace. In both cases, we try to offer a comprehensive solution for all your business needs. So as you see in the slide, from growth, from setup to growth, and through an exit, if that's a plan. We work with our internal resources as well as with our partners, which are obviously our French American Chamber of Commerce, EDP&C, RTP, to coordinate all the services on the U.S. and obviously help you navigate the U.S. tax regulatory system. Without getting into too much detail of the U.S. tax system, which is immense, the big picture is that things are not much different from what you're experiencing in France. We have the similar setup of, personal, corporate, payroll, property, and sales tax, or VAT or VAT, as you might be familiar with. And complexities obviously arise to the fact that you have to determine when these taxes apply, in which jurisdictions and in which amount. Obviously, with the 50 states, each of those have their own set of rules that don't necessarily adopt to the federal laws always. And then on top of that, you have some municipal jurisdictions that also have the ability to impose taxes. So what we do is kind of help people navigate that arena. So of course, as a business coming to the United States, we always sit down with them and try to figure out kind of what are the potential tax impacts, which can obviously fluctuate based on the projected activity and level of activity and type of activity, as well as the location where business is located. Now, as Ryan and Dia mentioned, North Carolina is very business friendly, and even in terms of taxation, we have some of the lowest tax rates out of all the states in the union. So, not much time, but as I said, in addition to federal, state tax compliance, and payroll, there are a list of other issues. I said we work with our partners, from site selection, import, export issues, hiring the workforce, providing adequate benefits and insurance to them, as well as selecting the correct type of entity, and then incorporating that entity and obviously registering that entity with all the appropriate state and federal jurisdictions. Now, that's something obviously that we work with Hutchison Law and Fred on setting up and seek their advice. So I know I'm kind of short of time, so at this point I'll let Fred kind of tell you a little more about the legal issues related to setting up a business in the U.S. And my last slide there is just some additional services that we provide, and obviously a link to our website for those that have a curious mind that want to learn a little more. If you have any questions, please leave them for Q&A, and we'll take them on there.
Good. Goran,
thank you.
Hey, I'm Fred Hutchison. My colleague Jeremy Freifeld's with us. Jeremy, raise your hand. Jeremy spent a little time in France during his university years. So this was dear to his heart that we were able to be on the program today. So Mary Claire, thank you very much. Ryan, thank you. We deal with companies when they set up operations to make sure they're in compliance with the national laws in the U.S. and the local laws, which are governed by each of the states. They're very similar, but the states do have some variations. It's fairly easy to set up a corporation in the U.S. This would be an entity which would be wholly owned by the French parent. Setting up a separate corporation here is important to limit your liability to just that entity doing business in the U.S. And there are also important tax refunds for doing so. But that's a fairly easy process in the U.S., much more so than you would find in France or in other EU countries. Also, if you decide to do business or set up offices outside of North Carolina, there's a registration process we can help you with other states. But generally, we help you with all the issues that arise, employment law, setting up benefits, healthcare, retirement, bonus plans for employees, requirement with the U.S. Department of Commerce. If you're more than 10% foreign owned, that's fairly easy to register and stay in compliance. We can certainly help with that. If you're doing business in the U.S., you want to make sure your trademarks are protected or your patents are protected here. We handle trademark and copyright issues. We do a lot of licensing and protection of patents. We can certainly connect you with patent counsel. We deal with really across the country a variety of patent lawyers depending on the particular area of the technology. If you're buying real estate, leasing property, you need commercial contracts for distribution, sales reps, manufacturing, we can certainly help you with that. We can help you in introducing you to banking relationships. We have a partner firm that specializes in trade and tariff advice we can help you with. And then if you decide to expand in the U.S. by acquiring other companies, that's an area we do a lot of work in, mergers and acquisitions. So we would welcome the chance to work with you. Our website is listed there. We also have a slide deck on doing business in the U.S. If you'd indicate in the chat room you'd like a copy of that, I'm happy to send that around to you, or we can make it available another way. But again, thank you. It's great to be here.
Yes, thank you very much, Fred. And yes, indeed, I have seen your slide deck. It's very complete and very good information. So, if anybody's interested, I think that's a very valuable information. All right, so I think we've talked to everybody. I mean, Carole, did you want to say something? Maybe we're so happy to have connected with you and all the people in Occitanie. Merci beaucoup d'avoir participé à tout le monde. Je vais voir si peut-être il y avait des questions. Si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez les mettre dans le chat ou peut-être mettre votre micro et nous poser la question. Carole, peut-être, je ne sais pas.
Non, merci à tous d'avoir été présents. On est ravis de cette connexion et de coopérer avec vous. Merci à tous d'avoir organisé ce webinaire et merci d'avoir été présents.
Merci beaucoup.
Place aux questions. S'il y a des questions, peut-être oui.
Voilà. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions? Je ne sais pas. Je n'ai pas vu peut-être pas vu de questions. Là, je n'ai pas vu de questions pour le moment. Ce qu'on espère aussi, hein, ce que nous voulions dire aussi, c'est qu'en fait, nous voulons faire établir une relation avec l'Occitanie et que les relations, elles vont dans les deux sens. Elles ne sont pas juste de l'Occitanie vers les États-Unis, mais elles sont aussi des États-Unis vers l'Occitanie. Et que quand on établit une relation comme ça, c'est toujours pour le bénéfice de tout le monde et ce serait bien qu'il y ait un va-et-vient en fait. Donc j'espère que peut-être bientôt on pourra avoir une présentation sur l'Occitanie de votre côté. Thank you.
Avec grand plaisir.
Oui. Thank you everybody. Ryan, Colin, Fred, do you have anything to add? No. Archibald?
No, I think we're good. Thank you so much, Marie-Claire, for setting up. This has been excellent.
Well, thank you very much to everybody. This was excellent, and thank you to all the participants. Have a safe weekend. I hope everybody is fine and that it's not too complicated to be again confined in France. And we hope to see you soon in America.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you all.
Merci. Merci à tout le monde. N'hésitez pas à nous si vous avez des questions.